Here we want to fill in the missing entries in the table. Okay, if you look at the first column, that represents the input x. The second column represents the function f of x. The third column is g of x. And the fourth column is the composite function g of f of x. So these are the numbers of the inputs, and these are the outputs. We want to fill in the missing pieces that are here. So before we do that, let's take a look at the table and let's write down the given information. So let's take a look at the first one here. So the first one has an input in that row of 2. So we know that x is equal to 2. Okay. Now, when we want to find f of 2, then the output is 4. And then when we want to find now g of 2 in the next column, we're given the output to be 3. Okay, now we want to use the composite function. So remember, the composite function is going to be g of f of the input, which is 2. And we are given the fact that the output is going to be 7. So what does that imply? Well, that implies, what does f of 2 actually equal? Well, f of 2 is given right here, and the output is 4. So g of 4 is going to equal 7. Okay, now let's take a look at the next row. We have an input of 3. So that means x is going to equal 3. So now what is f of 3? Well, that gives us the output of 2. And then we want to find g of 3, and we can see that the output there is 5. Okay, now we want to find out what is this result here. So that means we want to find g of f of the input 3, and we want to figure out what that value is. Okay, so do we know what f of 3 is? Well, we know that f of 3 is given here, which is 2. And so what is g of 2? Well, g of 2 is given in the first row, which is 3. So now we know that this answer is going to be 3. Okay, now let's take a look at this third row. So the third row has an input of x being equal to 4. So then f of 4 is going to be given, which is 3. And so now we want to find out, what is g of 4? We want to find out what this is. Well, if we take a look up here in the first row, we were told now that g of 4 is equal to 7. So that's how we get this answer. So therefore, that answer is 7. And now we want to find the last one here. So we want to find g of f of 4, since that is the input. So what do we know f of 4 is? Well, we know f of 4 is 3. So now we want to find g of 3. Well, g of 3 is in the second row, and g of 3 is equal to 5. So therefore, our answers are going to be 3, 7, and 5 to fill the table. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have 3, 7, and then 5. Let's just check to make sure. 3, 7, and 5. Check our answer, and then there's our result.